Everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. Looking forward to talking with Nathalie Dahl. Nathalie, it's great to connect with you, and I appreciate you dialing in all the way from Switzerland. It's great. I love this platform of podcasts, and we get to talk to people all over the world. Nathalie, your company is. We're going to be talking a lot about outbound marketing today. You're the founder and CEO of the Victory Log, and we're going to be talking all about what outbound marketing means. As a business coach, someone who coaches people all over the globe, I work with successful people who are stuck. I get them unstuck. And so I always like to start off with this question, when it comes to just, marketing in general or outbound marketing, where do people get stuck and how do you get them unstuck?
That's a really good question, Jon. I'm getting some feedback. Is that okay? Or
no, you sound okay.
Okay, so basically, a lot of times when people get stuck is, especially we work with experts. So anyone who's a coach, consultant, trainer, teacher, mentor, or agencies. And one of the things they get unstuck with most of the times is that they're too broad. They're too broad with their offering and they're not compelling enough when it comes to presenting it to their potential clients. And what happens when you're too broad and when you're not compelling and when you're not specific enough is that you're not selling, and it's very, very difficult to have a lot of conversations.
Yeah.
That's one of the things they're mostly stuck with.
Right. They're too broad, so they got to really narrow down and simplify their message.
Simplify it, make it more compelling and make it more unique. Everybody has a unique selling point, a unique angle and hook to their offer, but it's sometimes hard to find out what that is when you're stuck inside your company. So you're inside the cup, you don't see the outside picture, and when that happens, it's difficult to get unstuck yourself.
Yeah, no, I see that too, and I think getting to simple takes a lot of time, and it's really, really important, especially in today's world where, Nathalie, people have a lower and lower attention span.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never before. Right. So the average attention span is less than a goldfish of 7 seconds. So let me ask you a question. So if you were to give one piece of advice on getting to simple, what would that be?
Make sure you can explain your offer in simple terms where a 6-year-old could understand you. Because what most experts do is they are on a different level than their audience, and they start to talk all these terms that are not interesting for their audience, and they can't relate to it. And when they do that, they lose the audience. So when you can simplify it, that will go a long way. But then also focus on what is it that really makes the difference for the client in terms of what's in it for them.
One of the things I talk about is keep it to a kindergarten to second grade level. That's what I try to do for everything I do. And then there's also something called the curse of knowledge, which is on a scale from 1 to 10, people buy at around a 2, maybe a 3. And so if you start getting too technical, then they're gonna start to buy less. Let's do, you're a business person, you're a founder and CEO of your company. The name of your company is the Victory Log. Your website is outboundmarketingagency.com. And so within it, you talk about qualified new sales appointments for your business. And so in kind of like a mini business class, let's tell people kind of how to utilize your company with outbound marketing. What would the first thing that you do for companies and how that benefits them? 1 of 3.
The first thing that we do with every new company that we go out to market for is we really do a deep dive and analysis of what they do. What are they great at? What are the client testimonials? What do they stand out? What is the expertise, and how can we position that in a way where people see that it makes a difference in their lives or in their business?
I love it. Number 2,
the biggest part of it. Secondly, we create a entry product. Most of our clients are business to business, so they are selling to corporations or they're selling to executives. And when they do that, they need to have, for a cold audience, they need to have a small entry product, and that's often what people don't have because they translate what works well in the warm market to the cold market, and that doesn't work. So we create for them, based on everything they told us in the first 2 steps, we create for them a core entry product, non-invasive, non-pushy, not a very long sales cycle. And we pitch it to them, we sell it to them, we show it to them, we brainstorm with them. Once they align, takes us to step 3, which would be creating the campaigns for them.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. And I love how you break it down in a very, as we've been talking about, a very simple flow and process to really keep people engaged. So let me ask you this. So I always like to know everybody's backstory. So kind of rewind, how did you get to start this company? What's the 90-second backstory of the evolution of how you built your company?
97-second backstory is 25 years. For 25 years, I was doing something I didn't like, which was bookkeeping and accounting and financing, until one day I got asked on a stage if I would like to be a coach. And that's how I got started. I said yes, and then started to coach for someone else, and then started to coach for myself. And it evolved from there. Because I found a lot of things when working with other businesses, especially experts, coaches, consultants, trainers, and the likes, is that it's when working with them, it's easier to do certain things for them as opposed to try to teach them how to do it. That's how the company started, teaching business development. But when it comes to marketing and sales, sometimes it's just easier to do it for them. And that's how it merged into an agency.
I love it. I love it. Congratulations. Let's talk about your book, Amazon bestseller, The Soft Sell System. I'm a big believer that everything is everything. Oh, good. Yeah. Everything is a system, but most people don't put things into a system. So talk a little bit about your book.
Thanks, John. Yes, the book is basically, in a nutshell, what it takes from A to Z, which is from first, how do you first find and identify your clients, your ideal clients, until you close the deal, and everything in between. And it talks about practical examples and some exercises, and most importantly, how to overcome that debilitating little inner voice when it comes to selling. That's one of the things I found most of the coaches, consultants are stopped by because they don't feel worthy of the sale subconsciously, or they don't feel like they can ask for a lot of money, or they don't want to ask for money, or they don't want to sell themselves, which is in essence what this business is about.
Yeah.
So it's 8 steps, 8 crucial sequences and practical experiences and practical templates and scripts about each step.
It's great. I love it. So you wrote a book. One of the things you talk about on your website is your commitment to personal development. So I want to do a kind of a mini life course right now, because no matter what field anybody's in, whether they're in sales, management, leadership, they own their own company, they work for a company, it doesn't matter. But I want to do a little bit of a mini life course. And so when it comes to personal development, what are 3 areas that you would guide someone that are important to build whatever you want in life from a personal development standpoint? What are 3 pieces of advice you would give them to build the life that they want, to listen to the tea leaves and the messages like you did when you were on that stage and it changed the trajectory of your life?
First of all, I think know thyself, know what you're all about. What do you stand for? What are your values? What's really important to you? What are some not negotiable parts of your life that need to be in place for you to be happy?
Yeah, good. I love that.
When you're clear about that, everything else will kind of fall into place.
How do you get clear?
Well, there's a series. I think I'm a big fan of getting a coach and mentor. Every year I hire 2 or 3 to get my business to the next level. So that's the fast track. If you're like me, I was just devouring books, and I didn't have the money in the beginning, and I didn't really see that I needed that. But that's the one piece of advice I would give myself if I could travel back in time. Get myself a coach first to really help me fast track, and to help me also see when it's time to endure and when it's time to stop.
Yeah.
And by yourself, that's very difficult.
Yeah, I love that. All right, number 2.
So clarity, know thyself, get a coach, get some help. And secondly, yeah, those were already 3 things, no?
I guess those were 3 things. All right, we just kind of did them all at the same time. So I want to talk a little bit about sales for a moment, because I work with solopreneurs to Fortune companies, everything in between. I work with salespeople, managers, leaders, executives, etc. And one thing that I think people are always so nervous about when it comes to sales is quote unquote not wanting to sound salesy.
Yes,
And thoughts on that, and some guidance on that.
absolutely. Sales is actually, it's not, if you look at sales with a different perspective, it's a match finding game.
Yeah.
So you have something, you're looking for a match for that something that you offer, that benefit and that value that you're offering. And when you look at it from that perspective, it's just, there's no pressure. Either you are a match for what I do and what we help, or you're not. Either you are ready or you're not. And then
Right.
make it more about things. Don't think about sales in terms of, okay, how can I make more money? How can I get more out of it for me? But think of it more on how can I add more value to this person or this business?
Yeah.
And then it becomes your duty. If you're absolutely 100 or 200 or 2,000% sure that what you have is great value and it's going to benefit the person that you're sitting across from, then it's your duty to do whatever you can to ethically influence people to make the decision in the right direction.
I love that. I feel the same way. Sales is not about motivating anybody to sell. It's not about convincing somebody. It's asking a lot of questions to uncover a pain, and if you have a solution, and as you said, if there's a match, hey, then I have something that can actually help you more than you can help yourself right now. I love that that explanation. Thanks for that. Let's rewind a little bit, and I'd love to talk about mentorship, right? And so you talked about coaching, but kind of go back and tell me about a mentor that maybe planted a seed that gave you the courage to do what you're doing now, that gave you the courage to, or opened up your awareness. So when you're on that stage and somebody, pointed to X, you're like, okay, I'm going to do that. Who was a mentor that kind of laid some strong foundation for you?
Every year I find the perfect mentor for the perfect stage of where my business is at currently. So it's very interesting how life happens when you're putting yourself out there, and the right teacher finds the right student, as I think you mentioned in your book as well. One of the mentors I had really gave me a perspective on numbers and how really scaling a business means you need to keep track of your numbers and the right numbers, and you need to know which numbers to track in order to, once you understand the tracking and the numbers, it's about, adjusting the dials and doing more of what works, less of what doesn't work. That's 1 year iteration. Second year iteration, I was building my team, and that mentor in that particular year shared with me to put the right people on the right seat of the bus. Where I was before, I was just like, I want to be redundant. I want to have as many people as possible. So if one leaves, I have another one, but that's not the way it works. Well, make sure you have the right people, fewer people, because fewer people means also less work for them, managing them and the expectations and all that. Another, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go. Sorry.
We just recently did a rebranding of the whole company, and that's what I needed an outside perspective on, because I just really didn't see it. I didn't see what the strong points were. So again, I think every single business needs someone to show them once in a while what the business looks like from a, from a bird's eye view.
Yeah. And one of the things I say as a business coach, executive coach, is I can see and hear things that you can't, that are hidden in plain sight for me, but not for you. And a really good coach does, they create a space for a client that they can't get to on their own, in many cases because of the questions that you ask, and take them to a new level of awareness is what I always find. So no, I appreciate that insight. Thanks so much. All right, let's do a quick speed round. You ready? You mentioned earlier, and you have behind you a ton of books. What's a book that's had the biggest impact on you, Nathalie?
Good to Great.
So good. So good. That book is so great. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received?
Know thyself.
Finish this sentence. One thing everybody can do to grow their marketing is?
Identify your ideal client first.
Perfect. Tell everybody who your ideal clients are and where they can connect with you, Nathalie.
My ideal clients are owners and partners of, let's say, up to 200 headcount companies, creative agencies, branding agencies, coaches, consultants, trainer, teacher, mentors, anyone who's helping people with their expertise.
That's great. And where they can connect with you at?
Well, it's either at outboundmarketingagency.com or on LinkedIn. You can find me. Those are the two best places.
Well, Nathalie, I appreciate your time. You know, as a business coach who works with successful people who are stuck to get them unstuck, I love talking to people all over the globe who can share information that is in alignment with my mission to help people get unstuck. And you shared a ton of stuff, and I'm really appreciative of it. Think community. I always like to extract one thing. And, you know, when I started my coaching business, Nathalie, I always felt like I coached a business where I could just be myself. And so I think one of the key things you shared today a couple of times that I just want to extract as a takeaway is know thyself. And because when you do, you can get back to center faster, you can get grounded, you can make clearer decisions based on your voice and not necessarily always somebody else's. So I appreciate your insights. Think community. If Nathalie can help you, please reach out. If I can help you, please reach out at jondwoskin.com. Nathalie, thanks for dialing in from Switzerland. Stay on for just a minute, but that was great. Appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Thanks, John.